we will be there. Yes, live.
Live, okay. So let me share this on Facebook.
So, yes, please share it. And I'm really honored to have you with us. We'll wait another 2-3 minutes until people will gather, until the gathering.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see this. Oh, this is the live one. Okay, I'll share the live video.
Okay. So this is the first call for the tribe to gather.
Okay, I'm sharing it. I'm here.
In Israel time, we'll call the people again. And at 18:01, which will be in a minute from now.
Okay, online is already, I see.
Yes.
Proud to be the first one. Okay, welcome, Ravital.
Great. So I will see the guests here as well. So hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we'll have the honor to interview Rונן Gafni. Rונן Gafni, which usually we are calling him Rונן Gafni Fresh Biz, but he decided to ask us to widen his name. He's not only Rונן Gafni Fresh Biz, he's much, much more, as you will hear today and learn today. We will talk today on leadership, co-creation leadership, and actually Rונן will introduce himself and tell us how he thinks, what he thinks about leadership. And this all is done as a preparation, as a promo for the SGLA program, SGLA, Sustainable Global Leadership Academy. And this academy is opening its doors for the first course online that will begin the 10th of September, next Thursday, with a fabulous, fabulous teachers and lecturers, with a wonderful way of training future leaders on 4 dimensions: on the physical part, on the emotional dimension, on the logical dimension, intellectual dimension, and on the awareness dimension. So this is the program. Rונן will be one of these, of our honored leaders, and he will talk in the program. And now we have a short time just to make some kind of a promo. What is leadership? How we see leadership? How we see global leadership? And how we bring leadership into our lives. I will also ask Rונן to talk about his fabulous workshops. One of them is Woodstock, and the other one is From Fear to Love. So I think this all and much more is waiting for us on this hour. And I'm really, really happy to see you. Shalom, Rונן.
Hi, Shlomo. It's nice to be here. Actually, it's a pleasure, it's a privilege to be part of the program and to have this talk together and just shine the light on some ideas regarding leadership and I think the new world that we live in and the exciting times that are ahead. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Do you want me to begin asking questions, or you will ask the questions and give the answer as well? You know, once they asked the Buddha when he got enlightened, they say, now you have all the answers for the questions. He said, no, answers don't have, but the questions disappeared. So I feel like maybe my questions have disappeared now, but I will be very happy to ask you the question if needed. So first of all, I will be very happy to know, who are you? Who is this guy, which his name is Ronen Gafni?
Okay, so I'll try to do like the short version, because we have much more to talk about. But mainly in the past, well, I would say that I'm a change agent from the moment I can remember myself. But actually putting into action in the last 10 years, I've done it through the FreshBees game and the FreshBees company. So it started about 16 or 17 years ago when I started to develop a new business board game, which the main goal of it at the beginning was to really show people that business and entrepreneurship is much more than the monopoly mindset that we grew up playing. Because I was really into the passion around entrepreneurship, around the collaboration aspects, about the creativity aspect, about like really being able to express yourself through starting businesses. But as I grew up, and like I guess you as well, and many of the people who are listening to this talk, we all grew up playing Monopoly. And Monopoly, the only way to win the game of Monopoly is by making sure that all the other players go bankrupt. And for me, that was like a really shocking understanding. Like, the only way to be able to succeed in business depends on my ability to destroy other people. That didn't make any sense, and didn't really reflect the values that I wanted to bring into this arena. So I started developing a different game. It turned out to be the FreshBees game. So it was about 6 years of developing the game, where the main attributes in the game are collaboration and creativity and strategy and planning and all that things. And around the game, I started creating workshops and content and bringing it to people around the globe so they can play a different game of life and different game of business with what I believe are the right values for the new mindset of the new world. And I think that the things that we've been talking about for the past 9 or 10 years now becoming really, really clear for everyone, because with COVID-19 and everything, everyone understands now that we got to have an entrepreneurial mindset. We got to be able to collaborate more. We got to be able to build purpose-driven businesses. We got to bring empathy into business. We got to be more creative. So all of that comes into place in FreshBees and the different workshops and all of that. And we've been lucky enough, me and my partners, to really take FreshBees around the globe. And we have partners in over 30 countries. And we've done it with over 100,000 people, which are executives in the top companies, small businesses, students, and like almost every culture and background and ages, and it really works, and it really changes the way people play life and the way they play business. And along this, during the journey, we got to write a book. It's called The New Entrepreneurs, and I got to have a TEDx call. It's called The New Game of Business. So all kinds of different additional content and experiences throughout of the original board game. But that's basically what I've been doing for the past 10 years. And as you mentioned before, now it's like expanding to other fields of expanding the mindset, because really something is happening in the past few months, and the acceleration of the corona really created, I believe, a need for new content and new approaches, new insights. So I'm now like building more and more workshops and more content that will actually be able to kind of like translate the change that's happening around us for executives and for people in general. And that's me in a nutshell.
So you are becoming vast and vast.
Yeah.
You won't have to go on a diet later.
No. It's laser focused. Yeah.
More focused. Yes. Thank you so much, and we are really honored to have you with us. And you wrote the name of our conversation now is co-creation leadership.
Right.
So I would ask you, what is leadership for you, and what do you mean by co-creation leadership?
So I think that for me, leadership is the ability to create a space that allows people self-expression. I think that the end goal is for people to fully express themselves in a way that doesn't harm other people. So if we get to the point that we can highly self-express ourselves, and this is not damaging anyone else, I think that that's the main goal of it. That's the main goal for me as a leader. And so what I'm trying to do as a leader is to create that space of self-expression. And I think that the co-creation leadership is where we are heading now. I think it's no longer about a leader. I think it's about being able to create a movement or a space or a community. And I believe that this is, especially now with this Corona acceleration, we got to be very, very energy efficient. So I don't think that one person can take care of all the aspects that are relevant to run a community or to lead a movement. And I truly believe that the co-creation is, first of all, the best way to really create a group that you can provide for, like in many different aspects. And I also believe that the currency of the future is creativity. We are moving now from like the industrial revolution, where it was all about efficiency, and whoever could make more products faster and in a lower cost, kind of like won the game. I think the currency of the future, and we already started seeing this in the past like five to 7 years, but it's going to be more drastically present in the future, is the ability to be very creative. And I believe that the secret for creativity is multidisciplination. So it's like being able to bring knowledge and ideas from different fields, which only stronger the idea of co-creation. Because you bring something into the table that if I wanted to bring it to the table, I needed to study for like 30 years and go through your life story, so I can bring your knowledge into the table, but I can't obviously do it. But you can bring it, and I can bring my ideas, and I can bring my insights, and we put this together. I think that's the leadership of the future. It's kind of like, when you see a futuristic movie, right, and you see the leaders, it's usually kind of like a console. It's not like one leader. I remember it strongly from Superman. It was like back in the 80s, but it was like super futuristic. And there is always like a console of like those elders. And I think that moving into the future, we kind of like going back into the wisdom of the tribe, the wisdom of the elders, and I think that this is like the co-creation leadership that we can expect to see in the near future.
Okay, I have two questions. Do you want me first the easiest one or the other? It's like,
yeah, let's start with the easy one.
So what you're talking about means no hierarchy at all. Means just sitting together and creating together. So right. What do you mean by saying leadership in this sentence? or in this context. It is like when you say co-creation, it's co-creation. What do you mean by leadership, co-creation leadership?
I think that by not having an hierarchy doesn't mean that people can't make sole decisions, right? Let's say it's very much like running a family, right? Let's say that me and my wife, we are co-leaders of the family, but we still each have...
If you are co-leaders, you are really in a good situation.
Yeah, we are definitely co-leaders. That's for sure. Yeah.
But sometimes, you know...
I think it's the healthy way to build the family, right? If you do it like as a co-leader.
She knows about it, maybe she thinks she's the only leader, no?
No, I don't think so. I think that it's like very, very clear to us which one is the decision maker in which field within the leadership. And I think that that's what, you know, co-creation leadership is all about. It's like if we have a council of people, so you have the aspect that you're in charge of, and I have the aspect that I am in charge of, and we can negotiate about this, we can talk about this, we can create things together. But you are the one to make the decisions in your field, and I will make the decisions in my field, and I think how we manage this together.
It reminds me of the story of a man that says that they have really, everybody knows his own field. He is deciding on if we are for the peace with Saudi Arabia or not, and all the rest she is deciding. So all the rest it's her field.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you think? I'm not talking about a couple now, but wherever we go, do you think we are doing it consciously and knowingly, or there is something there that it's subconscious, or the way that we are going with the flow?
So I think it's a bit of both. I think that especially now with everything that's happening in the world around us, so we needed to be hit on the head by the coronavirus so we can wake up for some elements. So some of them are kind of like forced on us, and some of us will be kind of like a conscious decision. For some of us, the journey is more conscious journey, and for others, it's kind of like, you know, riding the wave or follow the new path or whatever. It's like really depends on where you are and how do you experience the change around us. So I think it's kind of like a bit of both. So I think that what happened now is that the coronavirus made us kind of like forced us to be more energy efficient. So we have to focus more, let's say for example, as a company, we need to focus more on the core value that we bring to the market. We have to focus on our uniqueness. So if previously we, let's say we manage our own supply chain, and other companies in the same field also have their own supply chain, maybe now if I have less employees and I need to save some money, maybe I think, okay, this is not my main value in the market, maybe I should collaborate with someone else. So it's kind of like starting from a necessity to save energy, but then people starting to figure out or to really understand that why wouldn't we do it? Why shouldn't we focus only on the unique value that we know how to bring to the market? And you see more and more companies sharing resources, sharing processes, things like that. And I think we also got to understand that part of the new world of business is a more conscious world, it's a more ethical world, it's a more purpose-driven one. So why should I, duplicate a process that is already out there and waste more resources when I can actually collaborate with someone? And that goes, towards co-creation of new ideas and co-creation of new products. And I can see this on a small scale with small businesses, and we can already see this on a larger scale with bigger businesses. And I think that co-creation is also, or even co-leadership, will see that it's not about It's not only about the executives in a company, for example, leading the company. It's not only about the politicians leading the country. It's I think that the consumers or the participants in any venture, whether it's a company or it's a country or it's a community, I think they becoming part of the co-leadership as well. So you can see companies that are co-creating with their customers, and those customers are now co-creating the leadership of the company or the way the company should go. And you see this, of course, with politics, and you see more and more civilians kind of like asking and taking more control over the leadership of the country, and not just like leaving this for the politicians. So some places we can see this happening with more force and violence, and some places we can see this happening out of like really the passion to create something together towards like a better company or whatever. But this is where things are going.
So if I listen carefully to you, I don't know, but you will tell me, you really see the future as a world beyond competition at all?
Yeah, definitely. I think that competition is a very old it's a very old concept. I think it's a very violent concept, and I think it's less relevant. I think it's not serving us anymore. I think it's something that was like stuck there from like maybe 10 or 20,000 years back. There is no real need for it. I think it's only about the consciousness. There is a saying by Gandhi that I love very much, which says that there is enough in the world for everyone's needs, but not for everyone's greeds. So once we get rid of the greeds, we can provide everyone with everything we actually need. And if we'll collaborate with each other, then we can do it faster, smarter, with less energy. So I think it's a very old school concept to stuck to competition. I don't think it serves anything anymore, but fear-based emotions, let's say.
Great. Yes, I totally agree with you on this. And if nowadays, for example, we go to school now because of the COVID-19 and we have less pupils in the class,
yeah,
and we have less people, and actually more time we are learning in the distance learning. And so also in the schools now, maybe I hope that the competition will disappear in a way.
I think definitely it's amazing. My daughter went to school today for the first time because she's in the second group. So she didn't start school yesterday. She only started school today because it's a day on, day off. She came back home and she was like amazed by the new format of school. It was like, oh, this was so amazing. I have like, it's a small class and I get a space to talk and I get a space to share and we get much more done and the teachers are much nicer now. And it's like, everything was kind of like solved in a moment, like this so needed change in the educational system was forced on us because of COVID-19, because no one else would actually make the change out of the will to build a better world. So sometimes we need to be hit on the head for this, but this is it. That's it. The educational system is changed forever, and that's amazing because those kids will grow up to become co-creation leaders, because the competition element will just like disappear from the system, I guess in a year or two, and that's amazing. That's awesome news, and I think that's one more step. Some of us consciously see it, some of us not yet observing this, but this is definitely happening. Definitely.
I'm thinking of beginning to write the book of the presence of COVID-19. Mm-hmm. There are many presents. I can also say that if without COVID-19, we wouldn't have you in our class, because SGA was face-to-face. Right. And then, we had some kind of difficulties to bring it all over the world. We had to do something in Vietnam, we did something in the Netherlands and in Germany. But at the end of the day, when COVID-19 began, I felt like I hitting my head. I said I didn't think it before, but now we can do it. We have great teachers from all over the world. We have students from all over the world. Right. And then all of a sudden, our working together becomes much more rich. And I will also here, just a practical thing, I will write down our website address, so you can go in, and if you want to be part of this program, just go in and go forth. And yet I want to go forward with you.
Okay.
First of all, just of what you said now, sometimes the leadership is how you bring people in a way to do things beyond their comfort zone. So to manage a company, then, everybody knows what he is to do, but if you are a great leader, then people are ready to do for you something which is beyond their comfort zone. We see it in the Israeli army, wherever we go. And is this something that has to do with co-creation?
Well, I think that the new model of leadership, I think that first of all, people don't do things for you. They do things for them. They do things for a purpose, or for a mission, or for
a high purpose.
Yeah, for a higher purpose. Let's say they do it for a change they want to see in the world. Right? Yeah. Can be something really high and kind of like enlightened. Let's say if you're talking about the army, so you see people, willing to give their lives for a higher purpose. But it can be something for like a small community, and let's support more local businesses, which you see a lot now. Which you don't need to follow a leader to do so. You just need someone that can present an idea, and you want to follow the idea, and you put your time and energy and efforts into it. And so I think, first of all, it's not about doing something for someone. I think it's doing something, for an idea. So people are choosing their ideas that they would like to serve. So that's one thing. And I also don't think that it's about making people do things out of their comfort zone. I think that it's all about making people do things that are super in their comfort zone. Because I think that if it's all about self-expression, or even, let's say, radical self-expression, the more radical self-expression you are, I think you are more in your comfort zone. But you're kind of like in your soul comfort zone, let's call it like this. It's something that is very aligned with who you really are. And I think that it's not about making people do things they don't want to do. I think it's about opening the possibilities for people to be more aligned with what they should do on a soul level. So I think you go more and more into the comfort zone of your soul if you are radically self-expressed, let's say. So I think that
it is a bit tricky definition, because we are talking about, for example, authentic leadership.
Yeah.
And we are, for sure, you are saying the same. But I realized several times when you are talking to people how to be an authentic leader, it's not in their comfort zone, because we were so much under pressure, of society, not to be, the eagle with your wings, and not to say this, not to say that, from your parents, etc., in society. Then that you have to go really authentic. When you want to be really authentic, you go in a way beyond your comfort zone. You go beyond your shame, beyond your feeling strange or not strange, understanding that you are unique and bringing it to the world. So
we're saying the same thing. I'm just like using a different terminology for this, because I think that being an authentic leader or a person in general, this is our true nature. This is our true comfort zone. the reason we don't do it is because we have, layers and layers of fear that we collected over the years. So I think the journey is not about like getting away from the comfort zone. I think it's about just like letting go of those layers of fear so you can be in your comfort zone, which is, a soul which is based on love, and then being authentic is your true nature. It's not something that you have to go far to find. It's just like something that those are layers that you need. I'm sure that, I know you well enough to know that we are speaking about the same things. We're just like using different terminology for this. But I think it's all about coming back to the source, and it's about being able to create kind of like a soul-based leadership. And I think that, one more thing that I see, or I think that will show up with the new leadership. I think that a lot of the old leadership was mission-driven.
Yes.
Like, let's go there, okay? Or like, I expect our company in 5 years to be here and here and here. And again, with this COVID accelerator, you can't really even put a goal on where you want to go or where you want to be in like 5 years. All the companies now, all the biggest companies are talking about like, being able to maybe plan for the next quarter. Nobody can even plan a year ahead or 2 years ahead or 5 years ahead. I think that those who are still in denial to what has happened think that, COVID is like, it's a black swan, but it's the only one around. And once we go over this one, then we'll go back to normal. But I think that everyone who actually understands what's happening on the planet understand this was just like a promo to all the black swans that are flying right after him. So being...
I said that we were not normal before.
Yeah.
Before COVID-19, we were not normal, and we will not go to be more normal now.
Exactly. So you can't really create, I think, a mission-based or task-based leadership anymore, because you can say, look, we were going there, and I'll see you there in 2 years. It's not going to happen. So the question is like, okay, so what are we left with? Okay, how leadership should look like. And I think that leadership goes now towards kind of like an intentional leadership. Okay, it's more like our intention as a company is to do this and this and this, and let's see what's unfold, and let's do the best we can, and let's act to the best or to the highest benefit of our employees, our stakeholders, the market, all of that, and we'll see what happens. I don't think you can anyway expect specific results. So it all becomes like more of like a purpose-driven leadership. It's all kind of like an intention-based leadership, and that's a different kind of leadership. You need a different skill for that.
Core value-based leadership.
Yeah, I think it's value. It's an intention. It's like, okay, this is what we want to create in the world, and like, let's see how this unfolds, because I can't tell you how. I can only tell you like what's the value that I see there, what's the attributes that I want to bring, but it's no longer about the results. It's only about like a direction.
Two words came to me when we were speaking. They're both in Hebrew. I will just say, we say in Hebrew, merchav nochut, and we say sometimes it's merchav nechut. So it's not really a comfort zone, but it's a kind of feeling handicapped, feeling that you're not really fulfilling your full potential. So this is one thing on how you define comfort zone. So sometimes people think it's very comfortable to sit in front of the TV and die there and not doing anything, which is actually, you can say it's also a comfort zone. This came to me also. But the other one, I think it's more important. As you said now, in my book, I wrote a paragraph that says, Hayyeud enenu hayad.
Yeah.
Which means the high purpose, our high purpose is not our mission. And it's totally different. Because when you put a mission there, it's very, in one hand, it's clear and practical, but on the other hand, it's very limiting.
Right.
Something that, And then when you put this kind of missions all the time, you go back to what we see now in companies, to every year or every quarter, if you did this number or not, you have this number or not, you fulfill your mission or not, and then you're very narrow-minded.
Right.
When we are talking about Ye'ud, which is high purpose, so then we know we have this light at the end of the tunnel, and we go there, but sometimes we are not like a horse that's going like this, we are looking around, and we can see what brings us better to this high purpose. And I think this is actually what you are saying, and thank you for this.
That, everyone who's like into self-development processes, I think he knows it very well. It's like you are not aiming to become something specific. You're just like aiming to become a higher version of yourself, which you not necessarily know how this is looking like. It's like, I think that if I'm saying, when people ask me, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where do you see yourself in 10 years? I always say that if I'll find myself where I was expecting to be in 5 years, then I probably did something wrong on the way, because I can only see, a possible future from where I stand at this point, from this current level of awareness. But if I'll still be there in 5 years, if I'll actually meet the goal that I put to myself, that means that I didn't go to a higher state of consciousness, and I couldn't see new things or new goals or new ideas. So I think that putting a goal which is too far ahead is very limiting, as you said, because I can only put a goal that meets my current state of consciousness, and that's very limiting.
My friend Professor Pasig, who also will be teaching in our course, in our program, said once, it's like somebody who was driving a car, his front shield is black, you cannot see, you look at the mirror and you drive forward.
Yeah.
So in future studies, we say molding future perceptions. You have to always mold your future perceptions and not go just, in a linear way. Yes, right. Right. So, Mr. Ronen Gafni, before we finish, and I'm looking at the watch here, and it's really, the time is going very quick.
Yeah.
I want two things that I will be very happy if you tell us about what Woodstock is, and how you manage how you lead your workshop from fear to love. This will be very interesting for me as well.
Okay. So the Woodstock strategy, it's a 4-hour workshop, and it's basically taking this amazing experience of the Woodstock festival that happened 51 years ago. And I think that it was like a really, really unique moment in time where basically there was like, we got a download of a model of a future community that is based on peace and love and co-creation and collaboration. And the workshop basically kind of like presents this model, because the way that it was managed and produced, and the solution that they found to all the crazy problems that they had, and they had so many problems within the production of the festival, that each and every one of them could have collapsed this entire thing into a catastrophic event. But they managed all those problems, and they came up with such a creative solution that I think it's a model that should be studied. And I think that by now people only focused on the music or the cultural aspect, but I think there is a major conscious message here on how to build the future communities. So the workshop is about that. It's about presenting that model and the activation of the model, and how we can use it now to serve as kind of like a roadmap to where we are going, because I think we are going there. So this is this one. And from fear to love, those are like 3 days. It's a 3 days workshop, and it's basically focusing on what we talked before. It's about how can we peel those layers of fear so we can actually come to a true loving nature, so we can actually, you know, fulfill our purpose and live a richer life, and to be very aligned with our soul. So it's like it's going really deep on like what creates fear in life. How can we kind of like change those elements? How can we get rid of fear? How can we really understand our unique frequency in the universe and be able to vibrate on that unique frequency and bring love and creation and joy into our lives and other people's lives. It's very experiential. It's super fun, and that's kind of like really, really in a nutshell. But those are all like ideas on how can we become, you know, more aligned people, so we can prepare ourselves to what's coming.
Thank you so much. I think before we are doing some kind of a completion to this talk, if people have some questions and want to even have some kind of a dialogue for 3, 4, 5 minutes, I will be very happy. Unfortunately, I cannot see my Facebook here, so you can see it. And if you get some questions or remarks or feedbacks, I think this will be great if you just tell them and answer some questions.
Just like going through some comments here. Let's see if anyone has any questions. If you do, let me know. Okay, there was just like some positive feedback on our talk. I don't see any specific questions. If someone has any specific questions, let me know. Let me just like refresh the page, maybe.
I have more. I can ask you questions for hours, but I think if people want to.
Yes, I don't see any specific questions on the Facebook page, but they can. If anyone has any questions, they can leave it on the comments, and we can come back to it, and I'll be happy to to respond to any comments. So
and also, if somebody wants us to give him the details and invite him to the program, he can write his name and say "I," "Ani" in Hebrew, and then we will just make contact with him.
Yes,
this is also. So, if there are no questions, I will go forward.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So, few questions. First of all, I will be very happy to hear about Fresh Bees. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to play Fresh Bees.
Yet.
Yeah. But what I heard and what I saw is that through gaming, and I know there are also research on this, how through gaming you can achieve more results and even more, let's say, you can see more changes, and you can see sometimes transformation in this field. So can you explain psychologically how it works? We know that maybe people are against competition or for this, but how you explain that just by playing this game, people change their mindset?
So actually, a game is the most efficient way to change the mindset, because first of all, we need to understand how limited beliefs are created in the brain. So everything is wired in our brain. So whenever we learn something and we practice it long enough, then it basically becomes hardwired in our brain. So you and I, we don't have to relearn how to drive every time we go into into our car because it's already hardwired into our brain. There are connections in our brain that been made because we've been practicing this over and over again. So now we got to the point that you can be driving your car for 20 minutes and kind of like asking yourself after 20 minutes who's actually was driving the car, because I wasn't there for sure, right? So it's so hardwired into our brain. And so if we want to change our beliefs, we got to rewire our brain. So if we are wired into competition and we want to wire ourselves into collaboration, we need to rewire our brain. We need to teach them how to do it in a different way. And it's like, I think the best example to really show the power of a game is, remember when we were at school and there was like a chalkboard and the teacher used to write with a chalk on the board? And remember that sometimes she missed the chalk and with the fingernail, she strapped the board, right? See?
Wow.
Okay, so now you have like those goosebumps, right? Or just like shiver down your spine. And that's very interesting because your brain just generated a physical reaction in your body where there is no teacher, no chalk, no nail, or no board, right? It's only a mental picture, but your brain cannot distinguish between a mental picture or a live event. For him, he actually fires a very specific sequence of neurons in your brain that generates those goosebumps. So same goes in a game. So if in a game, what I need to do is I need to make sure that all the other players go bankrupt so I can win. So my brain is actually firing sequences of neurons in a way that will make someone else lose. Okay, I'm focusing on damaging someone. I'm focusing on taking over territories, and I can't fake it. The brain cannot say, "Oh, it's only a game." I want to actually activate it. It has to activate the right areas in the brain that are in charge of violence or communication or whatever. So in the Freshbees game, for example, if what I need to do is to come up with a very creative solution that requires the collaboration from another player, so the brain cannot say, okay, it's only a game, let's not really activate the areas in the brain that are in charge of communication or creativity. It has to do it. So I'm actually rewiring the brain. And the more you do it, you're actually physically creating new connections of synapses within your brain that teaches you a new behavior. So rather or regardless if you are conscious to this or not, this is happening. So if you're playing this with kids and they're only enjoying the game, but they're not actually, conscious to the conversation around it, this is anyway happening, right? So this is actually the best way to do it, because the other way to do it is by actually going through life experiences that rewire your brain, but that can take like 7 years or 10 years or 15 years based on the fact that you are actually in the right environment to actually teach you this. In a game, you can do all of that within like 90 minutes and you already get this like brain practice. So this is why a game is so effective if it's the right game. It's effective even if it's not the right game, but it depends on what you want to teach. Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. Do you have any kind of research on how many times you have to play this game in order to really change your mind or create some kind of transformation?
Well, I don't have a research, but I can tell you from our experience, because we have a lot of experience around this. Once people are already played 4 or 5 times the game, they're already thinking differently. And one more thing that we have in the game is we have kind of specific language for Freshbees, which is also a very strong leverage to embed a new mindset, because once you're using a new language, the language is always a mirror to the mindset. So by using a new language, you are reinforcing the mindset. So that's another tool we are using. So you play the game and you use the new language, and you start using the new language in your real life, and that's already keeping on rewiring your brain. So even after sometimes 2 or 3 games, you can already see a change in your business. And this is how powerful this can be.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ronen Gafni.
Thank you so much.
To say some words to our future students who are listening to us now.
Yeah, I think this is an awesome program. I think that leadership is going to be super, super important in the future. I think this is not only for executive leaders. I think it's for everyone who would like to lead his way in life, because I believe that the future belongs to those who are self-efficient and the entrepreneurial mindsets, and leadership is a big part of it. Anyone who sees himself as a change agent or as a being of light in this new world got to learn the skills of leadership. So I think that program is amazing. I happen to know some of the speakers on the program. I know those are like really top quality people with big minds and big hearts. So I think it's an awesome program, and I'm privileged to be a part of it.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you in the program, and maybe even before. I'm open.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Bye bye. Toda raba, Ronen. Thank you for being with us.
Bye bye.